All right, how are we going to catch the cheaters?
We need some social mechanism in place. The first, 2 or 3 years, it would be fully like encrypted, like anonymous. After a while, it should be just like transparent.
If there were a group of people that were going out there and busting colluders, or Ghost, for example, Ghostbusters, like we need some Ghostbusters, I think. I'm with the CEO of GTO Lab, Niels Herregodts, and we're going to talk about catching cheaters, putting them behind virtual bars. If you're a scumbag, we've got a game for you.
Yeah. I played poker professionally online, and my first coach was Chet Walker. And then via Chet, I got to know John Jaffe. And after a year coaching from Chet, John became my coach. And I was his horse, and I played for him till 2019 almost. I was approached to come working in security as consultant for A5 Labs. We had to create an algorithm to catch cheaters in real time. And that's when they approached me to come help. In 3 months, that was built and working very good. But it also made me realize that most sites don't have that stuff. Even the bigger sites, they have something, but not that much. And then the smaller sites, they have nothing. Because I see what budgets are being pumped in. Yeah, I will not say exact numbers, but it's like tens of millions in the technology behind it.
What? Really?
Yeah, for
collusion?
sure.
Something's wrong here. We got to figure this out.
This is Winning the Game of Life, presented to you by Dan Jungleman Cates.
What's up, guys? I'm with the CEO of GTO Lab, Niels Herregodts, and we're going to talk about catching cheaters, putting them behind virtual bars of sorts and boundaries. And we're going to talk about ICM stuff, wizardry that will help your game massively, that I'm personally interested in myself because I got to work on my ICM stuff as well. It's my biggest weaknesses. Niels is here to give us the secrets of how to make you a great tournament player, or at least the beginning of the secrets, so you can check out GTO Lab for more information following this. And is going to help us, he's going to talk with me and help us together figure out a way to put a stop to cheating and create the right algorithms to do so. Niels, go ahead. I would like to know a little bit about you. Why don't you tell me a bit about your path towards being a CEO of a top quality training site?
So I started playing poker in 2009 or something like that. Yeah, I quickly understood I needed a coach to learn poker to become professional. At the time, I understood even at those $3 rebuy 180s and those low stake turbos, you could make $5K a month at that time. Pre-Black Friday, which is way more than a typical salary in Belgium, where I'm from. So I said, okay, I like playing this game. It's very realistic to make a good living out of it at the time. So I'm just gonna go for it. And then I took a coach, and my first coach was Chet Walker. He's one of our stakeholders, and he's still running a big stable until this day. It's river staking is his stable, and we worked. Yeah, we remained friends for a long time. And Chet, he was the flatmate of Jonathan Jaffe in college. So, and Jonathan Jaffe was there in the early days of poker, 2005 something, and they dropped out together to play poker. And then via Chet, I got to know John Jaffe. And after a year coaching from Chet, John became my coach. And I was his horse, and I played for him till 2019 almost. Mid-stakes online, mainly. Little bit of live, not as much. And Nick was also a horse of John at that time when I was. So that's how I met Nick. And then, I was doing a lot of pre-flop study when it was just starting. When it was still poker snowing at that time, and Monker was just coming up. So I was doing a lot of work on that. And when Nick was asked to do his first masterclass for Upswing, he asked me to also help him with the pre-flop things to prepare. So I did projects with Nick. They were all very good. We like working together. And then there was a shift that I was approached to come working in security as consultant, for A5 Labs. And then I switched in corporate, where I built tools for collusion, bot detection, and RTA. Since 2019, Nick and Dan, they were still Daniel DeVores and Nick Petrangelo, they were still consultants, so we still had bi-weekly meetings with them. They were the game theory consultants for the bot detection tools. So I worked with Daniel before, and I worked with Nick before during that time, and then somewhere in 2023, Nick was sending me hints from time to time about GTO Wizard, like the students were selling him, and it's like, yeah, it's like I'm inventing a board, so it's not about the board, but it's like, for example, Queen 6-6, 30 big blinds deep, hijack versus cutoff. It was like betting like 60% frequencies of the time, and Nick says like that doesn't look right. I'm gonna run this myself with the same settings, with the same ranges, and then it converges down to like c betting 10 or 15%. And that happened like a couple of times more, and then I said to Chet and Nick is like, yeah, let's just build it the right way. It's gonna be fun. Like none of us is particularly motivated by money. It's more about like doing our own thing and building something great. And then Nick said, okay, I'm in, but I'm not doing it without Open. And Open is he also plays the high rollers like for several years already. He's very experienced in business. He had very big companies before. So he's our anchor for the business essentially in terms of having that business experience. And then we pitched it to Open and to Daniel DeVoris, and they said, okay, let's do it. Seems fun. Let's just do it. And then a few weeks later, Jonathan Jeffy, who still was a friend of us, of us all, he heard what we were doing, and he said, okay, what do I need to do to come in? And he was writing a book, and he's still writing that book about the high roller lifestyle, where he was interviewing various known high roller players. And since he's one of the very few extroverts in high roller poker, we said, okay, if you're going to do a podcast for us, like, you're in. And that's how John then joined us. And yeah,
that's one way to get in.
We haven't looked back since then. And then we started our development team last April, and we're just trying to get things out as fast as possible, even if it's not fully polished yet. Our landing page looks crappy now, but we're making a good one. Yeah, I just try to get things out quickly to get the feedback of the users, and then 2 years down the road, it's gonna be way better than trying to polish it and then release a year later. So, and that's how I rolled in that role. It's more about, seemed like a very cool project to do, and that's what we
followed
did.
your passion, and it just kind of flowed. It sounded like, or flowed into this.
Exactly, yeah. It came quite natural.
All right, how are we going to catch the cheaters?
I mean, I have a shower dream long term. It may or may not be related to GTO Lab, but I have a shower dream to clean up like game integrity in online poker.
Okay, well, that seems like a decent place to start.
I was in 2019 approached by John Andres to help fix collusion in one of the Asian apps. That was like,
who's that? Who's John Andres? Who's this?
He's a head of security solutions of A5 Labs. He's also
A5 Labs?
high stake cash
What's
game
that?
player.
I don't know who this guy is, or A5 Labs.
You will see. The people will know him. And the other challenge where they have like super fast cash outs with crypto, like most of these apps at that time. And yeah, how do you gonna stop collusion there? So you like,
That's a good question.
they just play, they withdraw, and they're gone, and then you see, they were colluding, but they're gone. So it's a real challenge. So we had to create an algorithm to catch cheaters in real time, and that's when they approached me to come help. We did that. It was in 3 months that was built and working very good. But it also made me realize that like most sites don't have that stuff. Even the bigger sites, they have something, but like not that much. And then the smaller sites, they have nothing, because I see what budgets are being pumped in. Yeah, I will not say exact numbers, but it's like tens of millions in like the technology behind it to catch them.
What? Tens of billions to catch the cheaters?
Yeah,
catch
for
collusion?
sure.
Really? What the
Yeah.
fuck? All right,
Yeah.
we gotta something's wrong here. We gotta figure this out. All right, well, hopefully on this podcast. But what the fuck? It shouldn't cost tens of millions to catch colluders.
If you're a smaller site, you just have no chance. So this is not like concrete plans or anything, but it's something that I still want to do at some point, to make some security technology company where sites can like kind of get the service for. They can still decide what to do with the information, but that they have everything needed to catch collusion, bots, RTA, because they're not going to build it themselves.
Right.
They're not going to put in like millions and millions like the smaller sites.
Right. Yeah, it's not practical. But
Yeah, even some of the bigger sites, they might care more about the actual being perceived as like there's no cheating than actually there's no cheating. So it needs to come from some organization external, I believe. The way I see it is like the first, whatever, 2 or 3 years, it would be fully like encrypted, like anonymous. But after a while, it should be just like transparent, as in like on that side, we catch that many cheaters. On that side, we catch that many cheaters. For sites, it would mean they get then kind of like a sort of, certification, as in like we catch there was almost no cheating going on our side. You talked about that you said we need some social mechanism in place.
Yes, ultimately that's true. There's a computer engineering side, but there's, in my opinion, a social engineering side too, which is a little bit trickier in a way. But, this exists in nature where, this is what people did. This is the reason why like people are so averse to it in the first place. Is there's just like a massive downside to cheating socially, where you like get branded as a fucking cheater, or it's like hard to remove. I witnessed this. Yeah, I didn't do something extremely bad. I multi-accounted, and man, was it super annoying. But I get it now. I was like, okay, fine. Actually, you did be totally pure. And then eventually I sided actually in a way with the masses, even though they had a massive double standard. The downside is largely lifted by a lot of people, and there needs to be a way of accountability, in my opinion, for everyone that would have been the case in smaller villages back in the past. Like if you did something bad, you like stole money or did something that's morally, reprehensible, then your reputation would be hurt. And like you could get potentially outcasted, which is, in my opinion, the solution to this. Is basically outcasted is just the society's way of saying we don't want to deal with you. You're a piece of shit. Not you, but anybody, right? They're saying like you're negative energy in today's vocabulary. Let's stay away. That's really the threat that is without faults, in my opinion. And there needs to be some kind of way of making that happen for people who have the quote unquote energy of doing bad shit. At scale, in my personal opinion. But that's something I'm working on, actually, with a couple partners. In addition to that, if you have multiple people that have this idea, okay, let's solve this problem, like yourself, who's going to take it upon themselves and say, okay, let's, it's not practical, and they see it's not practical for the small sites to solve collusion on their own or solve ghosting or whatever. Speaking of which, I have a solution of sorts for that. We need more groups of people who decide for themselves, okay, there's a marketable, there's a use case for something that can be created, such as a way of catching colluders that can be sold to smaller sites and can be sold to lots of people, and there's a business around it, and solving these problems on scale. So the more people like you who potentially do go out and create this venture, the better, right? Because then collectively now there's a collective solution of people solving these problems rather than just you or me or whoever it is. And the more people that are solving these problems, the better. Or rather mentality, let's put a stop to this bullshit, right? So that's part of the social strategy, is like, how do you inspire people to say, fuck this nonsense, we're doing something about it, but also not going too far and saying, let's raise our pitchforks and like burn their house down and blah, 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 which would be going too far, because that's actually a possibility as well, right? It's like becoming the actual criminals. If you go too much down the dark side of the vengeance route as well, but more like, how do we fix this and make it totally right? And then secondly, how do we like make it so that these people no longer can interfere with honest people's dealings? They no longer can, they like lose their privilege to like play online or whatever it is. Or like really feel strong negative consequences that outweigh the benefit of cheating. I mean, that's the whole idea, is that's the reason people cheat, is because they think that it will serve them in the long run. It's like quite similar to gambling. Like people emotionally think, okay, this is a good idea, right? And it often looks like a good idea from a cheater's perspective. Oh, let's just make some easy money and get away with it. If you can get away with it, like the system's broken. There's no longer incentive to like be honorable in a way, if we're thinking in terms of money anyway. Don't want to reward bad behavior.
I mean, you will need as many poker sites to kind of be into this together, and somehow have a system that it's still not sharing all their data, because it's still sensitive data, and you don't want to give your customers list to everybody. So it needs to be very well like protected. But it exists actually that like not particularly for poker, but for other like online casino type stuff, that when a player is blacklisted, there are softwares that tracks that. Like I'm thinking GeoComply has that feature, but it doesn't mean that everybody wants to give their data to them. So it's more about that, and same about the bot algorithms and the collusion algorithms. If you want to switch from like a rule-based, that's something that we would build as poker players, to like a deep learning algorithm, you need a ton of data, and you need to tell like, this is high risk, this is like probably always cheating, and then the more data you have, the better your AI essentially becomes. Because if you have like a small site with little traffic, or you have a clean site with almost no cheating, you just cannot build it. So you need like tons of data to make it like that. But about what you say is about that blacklisting, that it's like public data, and then they can still decide what to do with it. It's obviously good if you can stop. If you know somebody had like a bot ring, and before they even play one hand, they just don't come on your side. It's like really good for your business. It's really good for the poker players. It makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, there's probably ways of collectively working together, because it's similar to casinos not wanting players, advantage players playing in other casinos. Like online sites collectively have an interest of not having people doing all these things that are obnoxious for poker players and like hurting their games in ways that are unethical. Like, it makes sense for them to work together. The incentive system is actually aligned in that way, and then there's probably some kind of solution out there. Maybe you could help bring it to fruition. But it would be potentially a conversation to be had with the CEOs if there's some kind of like software or whatever, before even going into developing, and say, okay, yeah, we'd probably buy this, and maybe, I don't know how it works, maybe even like sign an agreement to buy it so that there is truly business. I think we need a team, partly for entertainment purposes, but we need people. If there were a group of people that were going out there and busting colluders, or Ghost, for example, dubbed the Ghostbusters. Like, we need some Ghostbusters, I think. Then it would be,
It's a
if
good
they're working
name.
with some, I just really wanted to use that name. And they were using some technology. There would probably be at least some of them busted and at least like hanged as an example, or they're made an example of, right? This is one way of dealing with things, is you make the punishment parabolic in order to symbolize, hey, this is fucked up and you're going to get fucked. There's a chance you get fucked. You're playing like the reverse roulette if you're out there ghosting or colluding or whatever it is. I mean, colluding's worse than ghosting, just so we're clear. Also for myself, to make myself feel better, I've like never colluded ever. But the Ghostbusters might be on your ass, or the collusion ring busters, the ring busters or whatever, and they might fuck you up somehow. But that's just one possibility of a solution that I personally want to see happen.
Yeah, one thing popped up when you're talking is like, there's also another thing you could do, is that we have like, that's way more difficult to execute, but imagine there's like all the poker sites, they have their own player pools, but there is one player pool that is shared, and that shared player pool is only for the cheaters and the bots and the colluders. And then they're just like playing versus each other, and they don't know it, because there's enough liquidity, because all the cheaters from all the sites, they come in one pool together, and
How are you going to do that?
and the sites might still make money on it, because they generate rake without it hurting their ecosystem.
If you're all right, guys, if you're a scumbag, we've got a game for you.
Yeah.
It's the scumbags game.
Yeah. And they might think they're in a good game, because like, if there's colluders, they are limping all over the place, and and like super aggressive 4-bets, etc. So they might still think I'm in a good game.
Hey guys, before we get into that, just a quick announcement from the Jungleverse. The Jungleverse is a community that gives you the tools that you need to both get support from the right community in order to succeed in poker in your kind of way. In addition to tools that help you to get better at poker, you've got tools that help make your life easier in a difficult world, such as a justice system, rakeback tools, a community that supports you, working together for your best interest. It's designed to help you find your own kind of way for success, and maps to help you find the best games. The Jungleverse is here to help you. Just click the link below and let's all win together.
That would work probably. It's difficult to execute, and with regulations and stuff like that.
By the way, that's theoretically what's supposed to happen with the people that behave in ways that are not good for people who are behaving honorably, is the people who are behaving good are like, all right, we don't want to deal with you, right? So they say, go away. I mean, the idea that's really the solution at scale. Like, that's supposed to happen with people who behave badly. And so those people are simply supposed to screw each other in the long run and realize, holy shit, this sucks. I want to fix myself because, basically my own shit. And then, well, I don't know how exactly you would do this in a way that's organized, but yeah, I'm for the solution for sure. If there can be a reality show around it.
You just need enough liquidity. That's the only issue, and yeah, you can even make money in it because there's somebody still winning there. Like, it's an ecosystem. Like the ones who do the most card sharing will have the biggest edge, kind of thing.
I guess this is the premise a bit of reality shows. Is like, okay, lying's now sort of part of the rules, but people also hate you, and you can backstab people. That's part of the rules. People will think you're fucked up, but you can win money. I mean, if this is my favorite idea, just because it's so hilarious. Is like, okay, let's allow all the scumbags to be as scummy as possible, and they can play on a show or they can play on this room and then stream it somehow and just stream people doing scummy as fuck stuff.
Imagine you're like one of the smaller poker sites, like, and you're like a cheater there, and you see whatever 4 tables running of like 50 cents, $1, and then suddenly you go to that cheaters pool, and it's like you see like 20 tables running. It's like you see, oh, this is great. They opened up some player segmentation for me. This is way better than it was. I didn't think of this part before this podcast, by the way. It was while talking, but I'm not sure how many of the bigger sites would go with that. Maybe because there's still a lot of money to be made. Like all those bots, they generate a ton of rake, so they might be in it if it's like protected well.
So how is this going to work? Go ahead.
Yeah, if someone is listening and wants to go for it, I fully support it. like go for it. I will help where I can on things.
All right, let's corral the cheaters. How is this going to happen? I mean, what I'm saying is you have to warn everybody else that the games are fucked up, and you have to label it as, basically anything goes.
You don't warn. You don't warn. They just see more tables or less tables for the bigger sides.
Well,
it's for cash games. So for tournaments, it's difficult. You cannot do it.
Just no KYC at all. But then lots of innocent people will go in there and get shafted. That's the problem.
No. The idea is that you still I mean, it's on the side to choose if they KYC, but they remain players of that site. They just play in a fully separate, independent ecosystem, and they log in the same software. So it's for the user. They didn't switch sides. Like they just it's for cash games. It wouldn't work for tournaments. But it
Wait, so how do the people that cheat get separated from the people that don't?
That's by algorithms and by security tools and some manual decision making of the security teams.
Well, that would be a great idea. I don't know how you would possibly do that, but
I mean,
it's these like people don't know that they're all like playing against each other and cheating each other.
like GM Party at some point, like a few years back, they were like kind of saying how many bots they catched. Like if you just put them all together instead of banning fully, you just put them in a separate pool. Like you just need enough liquidity for them not to just say it's obvious I'm out of here.
Oh, that's an interesting way of doing things. Instead of just like booting them out, be like, wait a sec.
Make
put
money
them
on
against
them.
each other. That's too funny. Actually, that's not a bad solution. I like this idea. Like, this is give them a taste of their own medicine, and they'll be like, wait, why are we losing? All of a sudden? Why are we losing on this site? The bots are just rake, and then the rake's too high all of a sudden. That's actually maybe better.
The real colluders and like the bots and stuff that card share, they look like fish. Like they open limp like 20% and that type of stuff. Like so it's not that obvious that you're like in a game with all wrecks. Like not at all.
Let's see if we can make this idea happen. Fuck the cheaters. This reminds me of a story someone told me of 2 players, Russian players playing against each other. One of them knew who was winning on the flop. He was cheating, right? And the other one knew who wins on the river, and he was also cheating. And they were playing high stakes. And the guy obviously who
knew who's going to win on the river, won way more, a shitload of money, and the other guy eventually quit. And later, the guy who won told the first one how he beat him, and the first one said, "Oh, good job, nice one."
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
well,
nice.
I mean, if you think about it, it's actually a fair dynamic where a cheater gets cheated if they're actively cheating.
Super fair.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's the same, but it's also like kind of like an act of war in a way, right? But a war is fair if both sides are doing bad things. If you know what I mean?
Remember when those like Asian apps were like really like coming up and like really booming, like 2017 or something it was? And I knew somebody, and he's a PLO player, and he would say like, I'm gonna play on that app. I'm not gonna say the name now, but I say like, yeah, there's already so much collusion on the limit. Like in PLO, it's like it's full collusion. Like, and it turned out to be true because like many of those apps closed down because of collusion. He said like, yeah, I don't care. I'm gonna collude even harder. And then it's still an ecosystem. Even if everybody is cheating, then it's almost like the skill aspect comes back, as in like the technical PLO knowledge becomes more important again. If everybody's colluding at your table with the same number of people.
Right. Well, then it is a question of who's cheating the best. But at some point, it's like, it's kind of funny when I think cheaters are. I mean, people don't see the break in this logic here, where someone has decided, okay, it's okay to multi-account, it's okay to ghost or whatever, but like once someone like raises the ante and now cheats them harder, they're like, whoa, bro, that's fucked up, man, that's fucked up. Where I've seen that before. There's actually a case with Cole, what's his name? Cole Keenan, maybe? There's a heads-up player where his opponent, this actually pissed me off hearing about it. His opponent like was a prolific data miner, but then Cole data mined him and like built a counter strategy around his whole strategy, and then this completely fucking smashed him, and like a lot of it wasn't even. I'm gonna out this guy. Cole didn't do anything wrong in my opinion. It was the other guy.
Okay.
Because what happened was, so Cole smashed him, and apparently the hands weren't even that useful, is what he said. But the other guy was like, "Whoa, bro, that's fucked up. How could you?" But he was, data mining himself. So why is it bad to data mine the person to play against versus, the one who's doing it to everybody else, right? So yeah, I agree that it's okay to cheat somebody who's actively cheating, but it's a slippery slope, because what if they're not?
Yeah.
What if they decided to go innocent? That kind of stuff. What if you go too far? These are the questions. But basically, this Cole had all his money revoked because of the shitty arbitration. In my opinion, it's fucking ludicrous. People's double standards in these ways.
Yeah, there's one thing then to. I mean, I'm not sure what's worse. They're both bad. I don't want to blame the first guy because I don't know what happened. But like the second guy, he's like data mining to fully max exploit some other guy who data mines. But the first guy might data mine to exploit fish to the maximum, which is like way worse for the ecosystem as a whole.
I agree.
If you're like a pro, then there's no excuse. But if you're like a big whale who just went on a downswing, I'm been cheated here enough, I'm gonna collude this session. I think it's still like a human decision then to might give a warning or temporary ban. But if you're like a pro, you know that stuff is not allowed.
So you're kind of getting at a common pattern, at least I see through repeated history, and even going in like the patterns of how people screw each other over. It's just kind of a negative social pattern that causes lots of pain, in that people get screwed. And I have a theory of sorts that a lot of inequities essentially happen this way. So they get screwed in all sorts of ways, and they decide, you know what, I've been screwed in all sorts of ways, I'm going to screw everyone back, right? This is how, if you think about this creates a perpetuating cycle where the other people, if they continue to say all this, they say, oh, I'm going to fuck you back kind of thing, or they're going to fuck the system back. This is how everything kind of burns down, or everyone just goes to war, or whatever it is. So this kind of it begs the question, how do you solve this? And speaking of which, this idea that you mentioned of like cheaters cheating each other in like an isolated pool, I like that idea, but there's a dilemma in that, and this is what I personally found for myself as I ghosted, right? I was playing in a field, and before I even played, many years ago in the field, and I asked this question, is everyone ghosting on the site? I thought to myself, okay, if everyone's doing it on the site, then I can do it too. And the answer was, yeah, everyone's ghosting. It was ruined economy already. I was like, all right, fine. All right, now I'm coming in and I'm going to fuck shit up. And then I played against someone who was innocent. And then guess what? In that situation on the site, I was the bad guy. I realized, okay, well, if even one person is innocent, then I become the bad guy. And yeah, I can make money from other people who are ghosting. That's fair game. But this is where the slippery slope is. And I realized, okay, well, now I played against, Bill. And Bill was doing nothing bad, even though Rick was, and other people were. Everybody was, or a lot of people were, I should say. There were other people who were innocent too. And then I realized, oh, okay, yeah, this is probably we shouldn't do this. I thought, okay, I'll rumble with the bad guys and like fuck them up. That's okay. But so yeah, it's the problem with that idea is you need to make sure everybody's innocent, or there's crossfire.
Yeah, that's how culture gets created. It's same with like in different countries. There's different like manners in traffic, I would say. So not the rules about not the rules about the traffic, because that's almost everybody the same, but like the way people drive, like it's normal to overspeed, where people are honking, like they only need to do it like a few times to you, and you just start doing it too, like out of resent, as like they've been pissing me off, I'm gonna do it too, and it's dangerous because then you're becoming like a culture that you don't really want to be. I don't know what to do about those things.
It sounds like Bobby's room. This is what happens in Bobby's room. It's just like yelling at each other. Or a lot of people are, I should say. Everyone's getting kind of whatever. But that's there's healthier cultures and there's bad cultures, and that's where the social engineering comes in, like creating a healthy culture, right? And that is social engineering. And like cleaning up all the shit, right? You somehow have to be the person who's like not doing all this stuff. But at least that seems a big part of it. Turn the other cheek is the idea. But it doesn't always work if someone is continuously attacking. Then you have to defend yourself in certain ways. But maybe. Anyway.
Should I show you our trainer?
Yeah,
I guess,
actually.
Well, collusion and cheating is still in my dreams. Like for now, I'm fully busy with GTO Lab.
Why don't you show us the power of GTO Lab and show us some ICM spots that we can all learn from?
Yeah. Let's dive in.
Hey guys, before we get into that, just a quick announcement from the Jungleverse. The Jungleverse is a community that gives you the tools that you need to both crush, get support from the right community in order to succeed in poker in your kind of way. In addition to tools that help you to get better at poker, you've got tools that help make your life easier in a difficult world, such as a justice system, rakeback tools, a community that supports you, working together for your best interest. It's designed to help you find your own kind of way for success, and maps to help you find the best games. The Jungleverse is here to help you. Just click the link below and let's all win together.
Let's go straight to the trainer. So what's unique about our trainer is like we are the only trainer where you play full table mode, meaning that instead of drills, which will come at some point, is you are playing as every player at the table. Let me just start one to be clear. So where instead of playing drills that you would do button all the time or random plots, you're playing like every spot.
Mm-hmm.
So this type of trainer, it was built by Orpen at some point, like in private, like with this mechanic, and yeah, that's how the best in the world train ICM. Like these days, like it's just a better way. I'll make you an account. You can play around with it.
Yeah, sure. Is it more for? So it's more for final tables, right?
And now we have final tables, but I don't know when this will stream. But like next week, we are releasing all other stages of MTT and ChipEV.
Okay. Does it take into account future game scenarios at all?
Yeah. So we have 500 unless we have FGS, like anywhere between 3 and 5 FGS, depending on the situation. So it's 600 and more, it's just ICM. It's
okay.
Yeah. It's for example, 800 sim takes like 15 hours to 4 days to run. But the short ones, they go fast. So we have like very big library. The idea is to make it, because instead of like playing this, you're just playing every stack here, and just by playing like a session of like 100 hands once per day, you actually create intuition for ICM. And yeah, that's kind of like that's our trainer. And we have a free trial that you can just try like few solutions per day, and that's already a thing to to learn from.
Mm-hmm. There are any interesting spots, perhaps, that show?
Yeah, sure.
So,
We can go to like our library. So our library is like we went very hard on like final table to start, just to create a tool that is actually that you can look up spots like 500, unless if you're running HRC sims, you never need to run 500 and less. It's like just here, like it's 10,000 solutions. You might say like, okay, how do I play, let's say like 12 big blinds on the hijack? It's on a final table 500. Then you still say, okay, what do you mean 12 big blinds on the hijack? There's so many different situations that it actually changes.
Oh, well,
so
that's a lot of spots. How do you go about studying through all these spots, right? Like, are there not like a few common spots? Like, one spot obviously is like the stack sizes are roughly equal. I would pick personally, everyone's got 12 big lines. It happens anyway. This is a good baseline. And then also some other extreme situations, such as the big stacks to your left, or let's see, or your like second to largest stack size I might also choose, and then it's small stack size, some extremes like that, and then just kind of guess between those, because it's not practical to practice all of them unless you're insane.
Oh, it's not that you're just going in here and then go over all of these. Like the way to learn it is via the trainer, and so the trainer is the way to go if you want to hammer on specific situations. Let's say you want to go like you do want to go like only like 6 to 7 players or something, and then you want to play always as where the big stack is on the big blind, for example.
Mm-hmm. So I think that wouldn't matter so as much as just like whether they're to your left or not, right?
Yeah, sure, but the idea is you learn the entire dynamics of the table, where you don't just hammer on like how do I play this big blind in all these different distributions. You just create something like this. If you want where the average stack is very low, like for turbos, for example, you could go like average 25 and below, where the big stack is here, or the opposite, where the short stack is in the blinds. It might even be more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just go, and then you you train it. But and then on a side note, because it is quite complex, we are doing a masterclass that is very ICM heavy in like almost everything there is to learn about it. It's not like just for like high roller pros. So it's even for the people who don't believe in ICM, where if you want to play max GPV, if you want to go max GPV, you need to know ICM, because like when there's a big stack who is not flatting in position, or there's a middle stack who is flatting a bunch, then you can extrapolate it to a lot of other exploits to play the max GPV. Like this guy here, he shouldn't be flatting much, if any. Like actually he's actually flatting a lot. That's not the best example then. And maybe it's because of that shorty that he's actually flatting. So let me find another example where the big stack opens, and then all these covering stacks, they are like very tight. In flatting, here cutoff plays pure three bet, and if you then see somebody flatting like whatever the normal stuff that you expect, like sixes, jack ten suited, the suited aces, the ace jacks, the king queens. If he's flatting all those things, it means he's not doing a bunch of other stuff that they should be doing, and it's by understanding this and then studying with node locking in HRC also, that you then can play max exploit and just play for the win, because there's still many people. There's value in going for the win too, thinking sponsorship deals and just feel good of things.
Well, you're winning one tournament. It's not going to get you any sponsorship deals. Let's be honest, unless you're like a minority of sorts. It may be, but overall, that's the that no one's really factored into the calculations.
Yeah,
there's some kind of added EV.
If you just want to get started with ICM, or you just want to create intuition, it's just the trainer. You just
well,
you
it
just
seems like
go
this masterclass of how to make the most of this is going to be pretty useful. Can you tell us what else this masterclass would feature that other ICM tools don't have? Do you have any competitors that you want to show how you stand out from with the masterclass and with this?
Let me give you some background on like GTO Lab. It's like, because everybody thinks we're a podcast now, which is true. That's what we came out with. But to describe it in one sentence is like, we want to be a mix between GTO Wizard, upsync poker, and run it once, and build around the core value of like the best players in the world. So our coaches are like, some of the best players, like Ike, Nick Petrangelo, Daniel DeVoris, Jonathan Jeffy, Ben Heath, Leonard Ma, Thomas Boivin.
Well, it seems like you guys are specializing especially in tournament play, which is, it's impossible to have the best in the world for everything. But, tournaments is definitely of great value, especially to myself, which is like my biggest weakness, is all the ICM stuff. This is why this is a special interest of mine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have the best ICM stuff compared to everyone else, it's a pretty strong selling point. What I'm asking is, specifically with regards to ICM stuff, you say it's the best in the world. What is it that you would say makes it like, does no one else have a tool? For example, does no one else have a tool where you can like create all the spots and practice through them as comprehensively as yours? I think GTO Wizard does, but it's not so comprehensive, is my understanding.
They have, but like for final table, they have something like 800 solutions. We have 13,000. So the GTO Wizard one, you cannot really look up like a situation you played. Where here, like 500 less, it's literally everything is there. You don't need to run it. So and then it's like these solutions, they are not just like random numbers. They are like we had horses of chat, like really like doing a lot of like manual work on like final tables on GG Poker to see actually which distributions happen with which players left on the popular MTTs, and then they're carefully selected to have like good coverage on nearly every stack depth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then as far as you go. And then it's actually the scripting. The scripting is done by Nick Petrangelo, Daniel DeVoris, and Open. And it's not like one basic script for every average depth and players left. It's like a different adjusted script plus rules for if you're thinking of like these type of situations where there's like a big stack and then there's like a very deep second stack. If you run this and you just have like standard 3-bet size, like let's say 5 to 8 big blinds, he's probably like just flatting 100% with aces, and it's it's gonna be a mistake for the most part, where there's manually added like bigger sizes in these situations, so at least we give the chance to 3-bet aces. If those bigger sizes are here, so this is very big, like from 225 to 17. If they still flat aces with these bigger sizes, then it's probably good to flat aces. But if you don't give them the option and just give 6 or 7 big blinds, you're gonna make the mistake of like flatting aces there. And they are just manually all done by a lot is done by Daniel DeVores and Ochtan, and Nick had his input too. So our solutions are they're approved, because Nick wouldn't put his name on it if it wouldn't be.
Sure.
We can have chip EV also, like post flop chip EV. It will be running on PioSolver. It's probably coming like in Q2. So hopefully around still before WSOP, but it's gonna be around there. And we didn't want to come out with it because then we're just one of those many post flop libraries that there's many, and so we wanted to come out with this first, but we will do it. And the main differentiator with GTO Wizard for us is they use 6 sizes in their library. We will use 2-bet sizes for the most part to actually, so you can actually train to hit like frequencies, because if there's like 6 sizes, there's no way you can hit frequencies, and it's like it's even more important than the actual combos. Let's say you're like, I saw one of your recent videos where you hammer on like practicing with GTO Wizard to find the right combos, which is good because some combos are higher EV. But if your frequency is off, then people can still like intuitively overcall, or like call everything or just fold everything when you're betting, even if you're using the right combos. So it's really about hitting the frequencies, and that's what we're trying to get to.
How are you going to get people to like play with the right frequency? This seems like a tough thing to do.
You train,
and it seems like
you train.
Is poker's getting like that intense where people have to have the
it's
right
about
frequency.
training, and it's about trying to hit the RNG numbers. There's no other way, because if you just play EV based, like, it will turn you from a loser into a winner, but it's like in any serious game, you're not really gonna play that good.
This is like, I would say, if you have to, if it's required to play at the right frequencies, you must be playing like top level game. Basically, it's like, this is a tough thing to do. It's like something where you just start randomizing, or like, I don't know. I mean, I actually tested, by the way, at least in a one specific spot, if I, instead of like having a mixed strategy with all both hands and just like pure solving for certain hands in certain spots, the EV actually wasn't really different. But if you're far off, I could see how the really good player who somehow picks up on all this can exploit you. It's gonna be tough, but they could use some estimations to assume that you're overbluffing in various spots where it's really easy to pick lots of combos that are overbluffable, such as, just have one of the flush cards, and you just have lots of like offsuit combinations in the spot, and they realize, okay, you are probably bluffing with like all the offsuit combinations, or there's a really high chance that you just pick bluff with a lot of these combinations, and then they click call for such a reason. Because if you don't watch your frequency, you can bluff too much in such a spot very easily. But I see how, if you're trying to play at the top level, okay, you know this shit. What else is going to be in the masterclass, by the way?
So the masterclass is going to be similar as like Nick's previous courses on Upswing. So 25 to 30 hour course. It will be by Nick Petrangelo and Daniel DeVores. It will be pure about modern tournament theory. Like at least half of the course is going to be very deep on ICM. Then there's going to be some reviews of live stream tens from WSOP, etc. There's yeah, a section that is like, I'm not sure it will be called like that, but it was on the table. It's like beyond the solver. So everything now in tournament that is like not solver thing, like when do you actually leave like that one chip behind, and when not, or when do you give
Really?
the short stack a walk as the big stack, so that type of tricks that are like have nothing to do with a solver. It will be a chapter in
Short
it.
stack walk as the big stack.
Yeah.
Isn't that solvable?
I mean, it's probably solvable, but I haven't really seen it.
Really? Why isn't it
It's
solvable to give a short stack a walk?
I mean, I'm sure it's solvable, but like, how far FGS do you need to go to make it like real?
Okay.
Or there's other things that are also like whatever. When do you bet like half your stack? Like, let's say the 12 big blind stack. Should he be shoving or should he be betting half his stack type thing? Like it's stuff you don't typically see in solvers, even though technically you could replicate it in a solver. So that we will be covering too, and it's not just for like pros. It's also if you're playing tournaments and you take it more or less serious, then you're gonna learn a lot. It's coming in April, so I'm quite excited about that.
So it could be something for top players or aspiring top players to check out. I've really got to wrap things up, but it's been great having you, Niels. Let's get great at ICM situations together. Let's crush poker together. Let's definitely catch all the cheaters together and hopefully round them up and watch them.
Yeah, we can call it scumpoker.com. All right, thanks, Daniel, for having me. If you want to play around with our trainer, just create an account and I will upgrade you. All right.
Okay.
See ya. Thanks, Daniel.
Yes. Thank you for your time.